Good afternoon, everyone. This is Lisa Ware, Senior Group Leader, and today we are following on. This is part two of the presentation. It's the sign up, the actual quoting system. And I've just been saying to the audience so far that rather than do this as a role play, I'm going to do it more as a coaching because I'm going to be dipping in and out the whole time, giving you little tips and ideas. And I have got in front of me actually a quote of somebody that hasn't taken up yet. Um, if don't know whether they will or not. A very it's really funny. Their surname is Green, and he's the greenest of greens, and he's a bit of a I know everything about everything. So, but I can actually sort of explain to you figures. So, what we'll do is we're going to share the screen, if I could do that, and any moment now you guys are seeing switch more services to unlock bigger savings. Okay. Now look, first of all, just to say to you, so you've done the presentation, and now your prospect has said, yeah, give me a comparison, give me a quote. So you must log in. Now I'm not going to do it, otherwise I'm going to try this, it'll be too real, but you must log in. If you were a supporting partner, you go to uw.co.uk/quote as well. In fact, any partners and any supporting partners, that's where we go. Prospects, if you're doing it remotely, they go to always uw.link/meet. And it's the partner that produces a code. All right. Obviously, if you are face to face with someone, totally different. You just come on here and you do it. Okay. So, first and foremost, my biggest advice, my biggest tip, and I see it with very new people because I think partners, when they're not particularly confident, they feel they need to talk. They need to fill the silence. Can I just say, not the case. Sometimes the silence is good. But what should be happening, especially when you're doing a comparison, you're not telling them stuff, you're asking. And Alan P's questions are the answers is the biggest factor here. So even though I would have done my prep, so for instance, I would have done a pre-quote, I would have gone onto Google, I would have put the address in, I would have searched out their property on the Google, their street, had a look. I would have also, if I was driving there, I would have got my distance and all of that stuff. I would have made sure that the address was correct with the postcode finder with Royal Mail, because I never cease to be amazed how many people give me a different address to where they live. If you think that's funny, it's not, it's true. In fact, I had one a couple of weeks ago, and it absolutely fascinated me. They said something and it was totally different where they lived. And I rang them up just to make sure. And the answer was yes, Royal Mail was right, but they kind of tell people something else. So all that stuff is important. I also check out their consumption on Money Supermarket because I think it's a good idea to have some idea of what they're spending. And often that collaborates nicely when you do a pre-quote with Utility Warehouse. If it's known on the national database for electric and gas, the consumption will come up. Okay, so first of all, what you're going to do is put a postcode in. So look, guys, I'm putting a postcode in. You don't know the names of these people, all right? But I'm going to put their postcode in. I met them actually at Matalan. That's where I met them. So that was a while ago. I think that was the end of February. And their address is number 17. Okay. and they do own their property. So that goes in, and please do ask, do they own their property? I have met people on stands and they've told me they're homeowners and they're not. I often ask them, who's the person that's registered on the title deeds with the land registry? That's quite important because Utility Warehouse does actually search on the first named. So it's a good idea to have that person down as the first person. So we go to the quoting system. And I say to them, look, one bill, one account, one app, add more services, save more on your energy. It's great stuff. And here we go. Now, there are many ways you can do this. Some people like to start with energy and build and show the energy price going down. Personally, I like to start with the broadband, always, because I'm going to say this. Broadband is a very contentious thing. People are frightened of switching broadband, especially with perhaps a company they've never heard of. So for all of you to see, because I know you can, Ros, could you possibly show your face? Because you're in my couple of people that I can see on the side. And I'd love you to just let me know because you've given me a thumbs up. Can you see, Ros? Can you see EE up here? The tab, PlusNet, Vodafone, TalkTalk, UK Starlink, Sky. Can you see all that?
I can't see it all, Lisa, because this meeting is being recorded, is over it.
Okay, all right. So
If you
what?
push OK to that, Ros, that'll disappear and you'll see it.
If I
Push
do what?
OK on the little thing that says it's been recorded. If you push OK, that
Oh,
disappears and you'll
okay.
see it all.
Got it, got it, got it. Okay, yeah, perfect.
So
Yes, I
now
can now.
you can see,
Sorry.
right. Okay. Now the reason I have these up here is because when people have never heard of them, you've got to see it from their perspective. So they've never heard of this company and you're telling them they've been going 30 years. And then they'll say why, even though you've just shown them a presentation and explained to them that all that marketing costs hundreds of millions of pounds and this company doesn't do it. That's why it can offer better savings. It takes people a lot of time to register that a company would knowingly choose not to market. They just don't get it. All right. So this gentleman told me he was with Sky. So I would say to him, look, we're going to have a look at broadband. You told me you're with Sky. And up on the screen now, I've just clicked it. I think you can see this, guys. This is Sky Reviews. And as you can see, I'm afraid it's not terribly good. It comes out as 1.1, and some of this does not read well. You can look at it all right? There's no point in showing him all the rest because that's what matters. Now, I'm going to say this. If somebody has got a big ego, this hurts them. Okay. You've got to just say, look, here's a great phrase. Up until this point, it's not your fault that you've never heard of Utility Warehouse because nobody's actually told you about it. You did the best thing that you can for yourself and your family up till now, and you went with Sky because they're well known. But let me just show you Utility Warehouse with Trustpilot. Now, today we're at 80,654, and over 70% give it 5 stars, 4.2. Now, this can hurt their ego when they see this, especially if they've never heard of them. But I always say to them, do you know why I personally, if I buy anything or I'm looking at buying anything, I use Trustpilot. I use it because invariably I find, especially if you're going to buy through the internet, there are a lot of scam companies out there. And actually, I won't buy unless I see lots of green in 5 stars. And the reason I like this is a key element for you to get over. This is outside of my influence. my personal influence. Anybody can post on Trustpilot, so it's a really great endorsement. And of course, they've got Which for years and years, all sorts of stuff. So let's go back to the quoting. Now we're going to click and we're going to find out what's available. Now, the gentleman is currently with Sky, okay? And all that comes up, I want you to see this, is the old copper fibre, known as part fibre, which comes with the landline. Now, what it says to me is, I know for sure that's what he's got with Sky. And unfortunately, we can't better it. But what I do know with my hand on my heart, our router is better than Sky's router. And everybody that I switch from Sky to, I see an improvement. And I say to anyone, and I suppose you could say, is it a blessing that I only get 11 megabits here? Well, there is a positive spin on it, yes, because I can absolutely prove that it works. Yeah. And I don't need hundreds of meg, right, to be able to do what I need to do. So there's the prices. So now the gentleman told me he was spending, wait for it, guys, £106.50 a month to Sky for his TV and his broadband. And then I said to him, I've got a very good idea that you are spending about £57 of that on your broadband. And he actually turned round to me and said, how do you know that? I said, well, I'm 24 years in this business. If I don't know what the competition does, I'd be pretty silly. So I said to him, well, the good news is we can halve what you're currently paying. And if you wish to stay to Sky with your TV, you can do so. It doesn't affect it because I've got hundreds of people that have done that. So first of all, I will do that. Now, the questions that will come up is, so give me some more detail. What does that mean? And I say, well, it's what you already know. It's what the estimated average speed is for the download and the upload. And then I would chip in and say, do you know what? If I was getting 3 to 3.4 upload, I'd be over the moon because I get 0.7. And actually I did this remotely with him. And I said to him, look, can you hear and see me? I said, am I jittering? He said, no. I said, well, look, there you go. So anyway, we would put that into the bundle. Now, at this point, this gentleman turned around and said, oh, well, I'm really not sure about this. I said, no, I get it. But let me show you what happens when we put 3 services into the bundle, because it's the energy where everyone's spending money. So here we go. We put it in. So then I say to him, right, do you use a mobile? And he turned round and he said to me, yes, I do, but I'm never going to switch. And I said, oh, why would that be? He said, because I barely use it. It's purely for people ringing me. I don't ring out. And he said, all I do is, he said, I'm on pay as you go. And he said, about every 2 months, I stick a £5 on it. Now, whether or not that's real, I don't know. But that's what he said. But he said my wife could do with Switch. You know, I thought, oh, well, that's just about right. It's always the other half. So anyway, she's with Tesco's, okay, and she was paying £14 a month. Interesting. So here we go. So I said to her, how much data do you actually use? And she said, oh, well, Tesco's, she said, they give me 5 gigabytes. I said, oh, do they? I said, do you ever go over it? She said, sometimes. I said, well, here's some great news. Let's do this. I said, the Essential Max is hot. Well, I said, it's nearly 2/3 of what you're paying. Instead of 14, a £5. And now you're going to get double the data, still unlimited minutes and text, 4G, Wi-Fi calling, inclusive EU roaming. Marvellous. And she said, oh, she said that. She said, oh, wow, that's good. And he said, yes, but Tesco's uses O2. Who do you use? And I said, well, our company decided they could not in any way take any risks. and they had to go with the company with the biggest coverage in the UK, and it's EE. And he said, oh, I said, I'm a business and I need it to work. So I'm very happy with it. Okay. So I said, well, put that in the equation. Oh, but my wife needs to keep her number. You get a drift, don't you, of the kind of character. I said, of course. I said, I'll make sure we get a pack code for her. She'll keep her number, her data. It's seamless. In fact, the only time she's without service is how many minutes it takes to take one SIM card out and put the other one in. That's it. And he went, oh, okay then. So we add that to the bundle. Now, I said to him, I would love to put another one in because it will benefit you further down the line. But let's leave it at the one at the moment because you've now got 3 services. Now, he was currently with Sainsbury's Energy. Okay. And I had all the information. Now, I'm going to say it was different because I've done this quote. How long ago did I did it? Oh, I did it about 6 weeks ago. So look, we'll click the energy. And I said to him, now, utility warehouse have their various tariffs. So let me ask you, sir. I didn't say sir because I just don't want to say the name. I said to him, do you have an electric vehicle? And to my surprise, he said no. I said, are you thinking of getting one? He said no. I said, okay. I said, do you have solar panels on your roof? And he turned around and he said, no. And I'm thinking, crikey, you are surprising me here, but I didn't say that, all right, because that would be not correct. So I said to him, look, Martin Lewis says, whatever happens, you've got to ensure that you come off this variable because it's vulnerability. It means the prices go up and down. And at this moment, I think everyone would agree, there's a great phrase, I think everyone would agree that there is total uncertainty with the Middle East and everything that's going on. Now, we've just been given a new Prime Minister. We didn't elect him. Interesting. He wasn't even an MP and now he's a PM. How fascinating is that in the space of a couple of weeks? So my guard is up, I would say to him, my guard is up. So he has said that come the autumn, October, he's going to reduce the VAT, take the VAT off electricity. Are you all aware of that, guys? Yeah. It's not actually. Do you know what? It's a drop in the ocean, as you and I know. Honestly, really is. I don't think it's going to give anyone much confidence, but there you go. So I would say, look, variable note. Now, the tracker, it moves with the price cap, and we are about £80 under it. What's good is if the prices drop, it drops, but it does mean that you can't go over. But if you take a look at this for the sake of £3 more a month, 36 quid, what can you buy with 36 quid? Well, you can't even buy a meal for 2, can you? You know, so let's have a look and then you can click this and show them the difference. Now, can I just say, guys, do you know what's amazing? That show's quite good, but I'm now going to say to him, I want to put your actual consumption in. All right, because this is based on what we call averages. So we press edit and they have gas and electric. Now you see that's based on 2 to 3 bedrooms, but I've got his consumption. So I'm going to put the consumption in. And it was 3107 on electric and the gas was 8174. So in fact, bit higher usage on the electric compared with a 2-3 bedroom house. They've got gas central heating, so no economy 7 meter, no prepay. Okay. And then this is where I say to folk, this is so important. Do you currently pay budget plan, or do you like to pay for your electricity just as you gas and electric just as you use it? And he turned around and he said, well, we do budget plan. I said, well, that's where you take all the year's units. And this is where I gesticulate all the year's units, apply a price, including the standing charges, throw that all in, divide it equally by 12 months, and it means you pay the same amount. And that allows for the seasonal fluctuations. Okay. And most people can understand that. So now we'll press save, and there's going to be some different prices come up now. Okay. Very slightly different, because in fact he was using a bit more electric and a bit less gas than would be for a 2-3 bedroom. And now we've got the prices. Now look, guys, I did a quote. It was at least 6 weeks ago. And interestingly enough, the electric with us at that point was 924, and now it's 958. So actually, given that that was the Fix Saver 87 and we're now on the Fix Saver 92, that's pretty good stuff. Now, he was paying 998. So actually, we're still cheaper. How good is that? And this is fixed for a whole 12 months to the 31st of July. Gas, he was paying, there we are, he was paying 690. Wow, this is good. It's only gone up by £40 and we're 671. So on both counts, it's cheaper. Okay. So I would say to him, honestly, if you were my daughter, my mother, anyone that I know, like, and trust, and I said, all my family, I've said to them, fix, like Martin Lewis has. And that's what I'd recommend. So we put that in the mix. If they vehemently say no, you can say, well, look, take a look again, see what's happening. Okay, this is a 12 months, have a look. Can I just say, for total price certainty, given that prices are going to go up in October and January and April, this is going to save you a lot of money. Yeah. Now, so now what we've got is this. Now, can I just say at this point, he's paying £106. Well, he's actually paying £57 a month for his broadband. This is 26. She's paying 14 for energy, for a mobile, and this is 5. And they were paying, what was the total of theirs? They were paying 1,520, which was 90 a month for the electric and 49 for the gas. So actually, everything is better. And it means they've locked in £100 welcome bonus with the cashback card, the cheapest energy tariffs and fixed, £400 towards the exit fees. And do you know what? In the unlikely event that you were to change your mind, you've got 30 days. And I said to him, this cashback card is gold dust. So I then would go back to my bill. Guys, can you see? Here's your monthly bill. Yeah. And I would say to him, look, this is our house. It's 4 bedrooms. It's quite large. We've got 6 services. We've got electricity, 2 unlimited data mobiles, phone, broadband, and boiler and home emergency cover. Now, £50 cashback, all those 6 services, £99.70. So I said to him, there's 2 of you, let's be conservative. Let's say for argument's sake, you were to only get, I don't know, let's say £20 a month. Yeah. That's another £240 effectively off your energy. Yeah. And you're going to, as soon as you activate your cards, you'll get £50 and 30 days later, you'll get another 50. Stick it in the bundle. All right. And what comes out is then a price. Now, cashback would come off of that if it was 20, so that'd make it 146.84. I do a sheet, as you all know, and I show them my sheet. And I would say to him, so how would you like, keep all your Sky TV channels, although I can show you alternatives like Now TV if you want to have Sky without contract. How would you like to have simpler billing, far better UK-based customer service, quality services that are endorsed by Which, Trustpilot, and many more companies, and now forever be better off? That is how you close. Now, I can't go next because, as you know, if I do, it will go through. Now, this gentleman was, I'm going to stop the share a minute. I'm going to say he was a little bit, I think the word is belligerent that comes to mind. And he said, well, I'd rather do my research and I'd like to think about this. Now, would some of you like to know what I said to him when he said I'd do my research? And I said to him, of course you would. I understand that. You've never heard of them. So I tell you what I'll do. I'll point you in the right direction. Do have a look at Trustpilot, even though I've already got it up on the screen. Do have a look at Which. Because actually, do you know what? For 19 years consecutively, Utility Warehouse has been a Which best energy supplier and broadband. It goes on and on. Check out Moneyfacts. Check out the Citizens Advice Bureau. Last year, they said that we were the company that they got the least complaints from. I said, there are so many things you can check out. Do your research thoroughly. In fact, I'll send you ISP preview all about the broadband and how Utility Warehouse has the least dropouts. I'll make sure that I help you with your research. And then I said to him, so I'll let you do all your stuff. And then when shall we get back together? Not would you like to, when? Could you write that down? When? When shall we get back together? And he said, oh, well, I'm very busy through the summer. He said, I'm thinking more like September. I said, right, you will understand. It'll probably be a different ball game. Who knows? Trump could have started another war with another Middle East country. Who knows what could happen in the meantime? But I have every confidence that even though it will be a long time away, this won't change. The £5 for your wife will still be good. And I said, don't go back to Sky and quote this. I said, because if you think about it, if you've been with them as long as you've told me you have, and he said to me that he'd been with them for 19 years, I said, do you not think that by now they should be giving you loyalty pricing? And I just let him think about that. And I said, right, I'm going to put it in my diary, and it is, and I will give you a call nearer that time. And if you wish to, I'll come and see you. And you can't do any more than that, can you, folks? So can I just ask you all, does that help? Why did I say better billing and customer service? Right, because Elspeth, our billing is simpler than everybody else's. It's all on one bill. You must have it. You must see it. My God, it's so simple. It's not true. In fact, when I'm with someone, I love being with them because I can not only take a printed bill off, I will say, have a look at the app. Let me show you. And I show them how I can go back 23 and a half years and pick up a bill just like that. People struggle to find their bills tremendously. Yeah. So I always say to them, simpler billing, okay, incredible customer service from real human beings, not AI bot chat. Yeah. Somebody like myself that bothers, that cares, that treats others the way I like to be treated. quality services at prices that are fantastic value long term. And that's why our customers stay for decades. So guys, hopefully that was a nice little bit for you there. Next week, I'd like somebody to come up with an idea what you'd like me to talk about next week. If not, I'm going to kind of go over a couple of things, maybe something like starting a new partner off. All right. So I think that might be a good one. Yeah. So I hope that was all very good. I'm bang on time, and same time, same place. See you next week. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.